You have heard the nebulous term go turn. This is when the game is decided. Now, if you're a 40k player, listen up because this is a very, very big deal. It's about identifying when you need to go. Now, what the heck does this mean? In 40k, typically you have you always have 5 rounds to play. Sometimes you don't make it 5 rounds, but there's generally going to be one turn that is the most important turn. This is the turn where you need to put your assets on the table, or maybe we weren't on a YouTube video, I would phrase it a little bit differently, and you need to actually just go. If you've ever been watching a stream of a high level 40k player and they say like, oh, F it, we ball, and throw the dice on the table saying it's time to go, this is the go turn. You either make it happen now or you don't make it and you lose. So it's kind of a nebulous definition, but every single one of us playing the game has experienced this. Do I actually commit my assets now, or do I need to continue waiting so that I commit them next turn? Typically, armies that commit one asset at a time tend to not do very good in this game. There are exceptions, of course. You got armies like Eldar that are designed to commit very few resources at once. So there are, of course, exceptions to that. But most armies in the game will experience this concept of a go turn. Now, what is the point of the go turn? Well, I've basically brought it down to 3 reasons to do a go turn, and I'm going to define them for you, and then I'm going to show you how to set them up. I'm going to show you really in detail the one that I particularly prefer, being a melee pressure army specialist. But if you're a shooting pressure army, guys, this is for you. So if you are a person who is looking for a more defined way to figure out when it's time to send your army out, this is your video. So there's going to be 3 different purposes of a go turn. One will be to wipe. And what do I mean by this? This means, hey, I'm just trying to kill my opponent in this turn. I'm trying to destroy all of their assets. That is the point of this turn. And remember, in 40k, you don't win by destroying assets. Actually, you win by scoring points. The reason why we need to destroy assets is so that their assets are no longer an impediment to us scoring more points. That's the entire purpose of it. Then 2. So one go turn is you're doing it to wipe your opponent. The second reason to do a go turn is you are going to get all your points right now, and you're going to deny your opponents their points right now. So let's say that it's battle round. I'll get into more details later. That's just what it is. And then lastly, it's going to be board control, and that's a very vague concept that I'm going to flesh out a lot at the end of this video. So let's just go right into number 1, wipe. All right. This is typically what you see with the go turn. So when you see an orc player shout, "Wah!" and send all their assets on the table and try to kill everything in their opponent's army, this is the gold standard go turn. Hey, when you scream "Wah" at your opponent and then you run towards them like a mad lad and you just make a bunch of charges and you try to wipe them in a turn, this is the wipe version of a go turn. It's when you're looking to cause devastating trauma to your opponent that they cannot really recover from. Now, this is really the style of go turn that most pressure armies use. So what do I mean by that? Well, basically, if I can stage 100% safely with my 2,000 points of my army, and I don't lose any units, or maybe I just lose like one 80-point trading unit early in the game, and then it's turn 2 or turn 3, and I see an opportunity, and I can charge approximately, give or take, whatever, 2,000 points of my army into your entire army, and let's say I kill 1,000 points of your army, it doesn't matter to me how much of my army is now exposed. I can have the entire army right out in the middle of no man's land because you only have 1,000 points of your army left to try to kill 2,000 points in my army. Generally speaking, when this connects like this, you're going to lose that trade every single day. My 2,000 points kill 1,000 of yours. I basically referring to me getting to throw the uppercut first. If you're throwing a hook at me and I'm throwing the uppercut, but I connect first, my punch is going to land a lot harder than your punches, even though your punch will probably still land. Right? So this is the entire concept of the wipe go turn. Typically, you're going to see this in your rounds 2 or rounds 3 in the game. It's generally going to be better on armies that have access to things like advance and charge or advance and shoot if you're a shooting pressure army, because this does apply to shooting pressure armies as well. And that's the way it is. So it can also be used to kill like the one linchpin unit and just survive everywhere else. So let's say you're playing into an army like Necrons and they have the Silent King and he's -1 damage because it's the Star Shatter Arsenal and they have that stupid enhancement on a character. And he's got the 6-up Fiona Pain. Well, that unit right there is that unit combination is 600 to 700 points of your army, but it enables the entire rest of the army. So maybe I don't need to kill the rest of the army. I just need to break that package down. So if in my go turn, I decide to wipe that package and basically just let the rest of your army play the game they are, that also could be considered a wipe turn. So let's go into the second reason to actually do a go turn. We have max scoring / no hope for catch up. This is another really, really good, interesting version of your go turn, right? So let's say that you can guarantee a max primary and a max secondary in your turn. So let's say it's turn 2, you got 15 points in primary, and now you are drawing area denial and extend battle lines, or you draw containment and secure no man's, whatever, right? So you're getting 10 points on secondaries, you're got 15 points on primaries. In your brain, you go, listen, if I send my entire army now, I can out OC my opponent everywhere, guaranteeing that he's going to score a 0 on primary. And if I tag most of his army, he might also not be able to do any actions in his turn, which can really, really screw him up. Basically guaranteeing a 0 on primary for him and at least limited access to scoring secondaries in his turn. Even though this is going to allow him to kill most of my army, I've already scored so many points, and it's going to take him at least 1 to 2 turns of having very little primary just to get through my army. It might be the case that he just can't catch up on points, even if he tables me in round 4 or round 5. So this is absolutely a reason to do a go turn. You might just send your entire army and just be like, hey man, good luck chewing through all of these waves. This is actually a style of Warhammer that is played, especially with like horde style armies. So Kroot Hunting Pack can do this. Green Tide Orcs can do this. Admech in certain ways can do this. There are a lot of ways to be able to set this up. These tend to be armies that are really, really good at move blocking, but not necessarily. It's also, it could be horde armies with like deceptive durability can do things like this. So this is a very, very real style of playing and a very real reason to put all your cards on the table, as it were. So that's it. Basically, you give them their army. They might even table you, but it doesn't matter because you've scored more than them on your go turn. Oftentimes, I would say that this strategy for a go turn really only works well if you're setting up in rounds 3 and 4 if your opponent didn't score a ton in rounds 1 and 2. So basically, you're just denying them the opportunity to catch up in points. So that totally works. But then my preferred reason for doing a go turn is to grab board control. Now, this is how I set up my go turns, and man, is it successful. So real quick definition for you guys. There's a big difference between board presence / board control. Let me just break it down for you real fast. Board presence is where you are. So if we're to take a look at this picture, there's a Land Raider Redeemer on the center objective. That's where he is. That is where my board presence is. I'm in the center of the battlefield. Now, the board control is where you're dictating where your opponent can be or what trade-offs your opponent must make in order to be in certain places. So for example, this Land Raider is, he's like 6.5 inches long, and he's got a 12-inch aura of, if you walk within this aura, you're going to get hit by 2d6 plus 6 flamers at strength 6, AP2, damage 2, no cover. This basically says that infantry are not allowed to walk within a, 6.5 times 2 is 13 plus 12, what is that going to be, 25-inch diameter? Basically, it's a 25-inch diameter. You can't move infantry here unless you're willing to accept the fact that your infantry die. That is board control. The board presence is where the model actually is. All right, now that that's cleared up, let me break down this is how you do your go turn. I look for board presence and control when I do my go turns, not damage, which makes me a relatively atypical orc player. And now I'm going to be showing you this on TTS, how I actually set up with my current army, just so you guys can get an idea of it. But here's the general thought process of it. I have no control over dice when I'm playing Warhammer 40,000. But I do know that a charge will be at least 2 inches, and I do know an advance will at least be 1 inch. So these are things I can know. I know that if my models are in a certain position, I have an OC value of whatever. I know that my opponent has an OC value of whatever. So there are predictable aspects of this game. If I have 10 OC and you only have 8 OC, you can't score this objective, for example. So what I do is I look for board presence and board control. If I'm standing in this position, that means you cannot stand in that position because you can't be where my models are. Now, you might be able to kill my models and then be in that position next turn, but you can't be there this turn, right? So these are the things I think about. So let me switch over to the TTS view so I can show you exactly how I utilize my WA or my go turns in order to grab board presence and board control and see if it jives with you, which I think it probably will. So I was actually going over this with a client of mine who has been struggling in a particular matchup. So we did this for him in a coaching call, and I actually recorded it. I wanted to share it with you guys, but then I just I didn't record audio, so I couldn't share it with you guys. So here we are. So let me set up the scenario. Basically, he's a newer orc player, and he is a good player, but he's really struggling into, like, say, Imperial Guard gun lines. So one of the problems that, and this is roughly how it is. Now, this exact scenario, you'll probably never see on the battlefield, right? This is just how I'm using to explain it. There are other scenarios that you absolutely will see on the battlefield, so just bear with me. So This is on UKTC terrain, and this is just what I had it set up when I was explaining to my opponent, or to my client, sorry. And this works on literally any layout that you can think of. So here you go. What you see in from the Imperial Guard player's army, he's got a unit of Catachan troopers. They're going to, shoot some commandos and stuff. There's like a Chimera here, and there's a tank commander here. There's a line of Catachans blocking off a charge into the Rogue Adorn. There's a line of Catachans coming here to deny my primary and blocking off the route into my tank commander. So a lot of people might say, look at this, and as the Orc player say, oh, this is a bad go turn because you can't even get to his tanks to kill them. For me, however, I'm going to say this is actually a fantastic opportunity for a go turn because I can 100% control the board from this position. So if we're looking at my army, I've got like tank busters, breakaboys inside these trucks. I've got, boys on the board. I've got Gretchen on the board. I've got 2 units of flash kits here on the board. I've got a truck full of things, whatever it is, and call it boys. It doesn't matter. And I'm looking at, okay, I really can't interact with his tanks this turn, which means anything I expose is going to be immediately eliminated. But this can still be a go turn for me. I don't have to cause catastrophic damage to him. I just have to be in a catastrophic position for him. So what I might do in this particular scenario is I might look at these flash kits, and I'm just going to have them move. They're 6 inches up. And I'm going to go ahead and spend a CP for Here We Go to give them +2 to advance and charge. I'm not even going to advance them, though. I'm just going to give them that +2 to charge. So instead of a 7-inch charge, it's going to end up being a, 5-inch charge. So I'm going to go ahead and move these flash kits all the way out. And yeah, something like that. And then these guys are going to roll in advance. And it doesn't matter. I'm just going to give them a 3-inch advance just because that's what is normal, what is natural, whatever, position it right there. And that's going to leave me with like an 8-inch charge into them. So yeah. And then I'm going to have these commandos are coming out. They're probably already dead, actually, so let's just ignore this. I'm going to have this truck come out. I'm going to send boys into position. I don't really care if the boys kill these Catachans and kill this Chimera. Killing them is not relevant. They probably will kill the Catachans. They're not going to kill the Chimera, but that's completely irrelevant at this point. Then I'm going to have this truck roll in advance and come into this position, and this truck is going to roll in advance to come into this position. And then I'm going to have these Gretchen roll in advance, and they're going to go, I don't know, however far they're going to go. Let me put a little aura on him. So that let's just move their moves. We're going to roll. I'm going to say they go 3 inches, so I'm just going to move them to be here. Okay, and that's going to give him like a 6-inch charge into the Leman Russ tank commander. And I know I'm not going to kill the Leman Russ tank commander. That doesn't matter. Completely irrelevant. These boys are going to end up coming to kill these guys. And then I'm going to have this truck who's going to position himself to be right here. And then this truck is going to move on out to be right here. So basically what's going to happen is these boys are going to charge and they're going to murder the squad. These flash kits are going to throw grenades and then they're going to shoot and then they're going to kill all these Catachans. Somehow this is going to die. I don't care. Boom. Now, the only thing that I need to do at this point is I need to charge these flash kits into this guy, which is 5-inch on the dice, so I can pretty much guarantee it. Let's just say I roll 7, which is the average dice roll, and I'm going to get +2 because I spent the CP to give them +2. So they're gonna be all the way up into this freaking Rogue Adorn's grill. I'm going to charge with the Gretchen. A 6-inch charge. I'm likely to make a 6-inch charge. I'm going to move all the Gretchen up here. Whatever. These boys are going to die to my boy. These Catachans are going to die to my boys. And I'm in this position here. Now, I'm in such a interesting position. Oh, yeah. And I got to make an 8-inch charge here. So let's say I spend a CP, fail it, I re-roll it, I make it. Just for the purposes of this video. Done. So they make this charge. All right. So now I actually did not deal hardly any damage to my opponent. I killed 3 squads of Catachans. I don't expect to kill this guy. I'm certainly not going to kill this tank commander. Let's see, we've got another tank here. Just give him more firepower. Why not? Give him an extra tank. I'm certainly not going to kill this tank commander. I'm not going to kill this Rogue Adorn. I'm not going to kill this tank commander. I'm definitely not killing this Chimera, and this tank commander is not even going to get touched. Or this Leman Russ at least is not going to get touched. So now, however, I've won the game. Because it doesn't matter that I was able to, that I didn't kill any of his critical units, because I really didn't kill any critical units. I just killed 65 points here, 65 points here, and 65 points here. So I killed, 100 and 60, that's going to be 120 plus 180. So that's going to be 195 points of his army. And now he's going to be able to kill a lot of my army. But he can't be anywhere valuable. So these flash kits will certainly die in his turn. These flash kits will certainly die in his turn. These Gretchen will certainly die in his turn. Although they have a 5 invul since I declared the wall, which means it's actually possible they don't die. But if he's got, let's say he's got flamers, which means they die. This Leviathan Rust can come up here, and let's say he kills these boys. Although with an invuln, I kind of doubt he does. And let's say that this Rogadorn actually split fire to kill the flash kits, and he killed a truck. Cool. And this truck died, which meant that my Breaker Boys and Tank Busters get out of it. But he doesn't have anything left to kill these squads with, because he had to kill these guys, and he had to kill these guys. Let's say he didn't kill these guys. I'm just as happy if he doesn't kill these guys, and he only focused on killing my trucks and the guys that got out of it. Let's say all these guys died, but none of these guys died. Well, that means he's stuck here for another turn, not scored primary. And I don't care if he kills me in the follow-up turns, because now I've scored 2 turns of max primary. Let's say he does kill these guys, and that means the guys who get out of the trucks don't necessarily die, but the trucks die. And then, I don't know, I get a unit beast, and I get out of here. At this point, I've won the game, because now my beast boss goes and kills this guy without any trouble, even though this truck is already dead. Now, I send Breaker Boys, I send Tank Busters over here to kill this Rogadorn. And between everything, Rogadorn dies. Then I also have probably Breaker Boys and Tank Busters in here to either kill this Tank Commander or kill this Rogadorn. And at that point, I have caused critical damage. My go turn, however, wasn't actually killing anything important. It was simply reducing my opponent's capacity to play the game. So I do it for board control. I don't really worry about dealing damage on my go turns. What's interesting is that most of the time when I do try to control the board, I cause critical damage to my opponent, but not always. So think about your go turns in these 3 different ways. You've got a go turn that can help you wipe. You've got a go turn that can help you just score crazy points and deny points to your opponent. And you've got a go turn that can actually just control the board and give you really good board presence. I recommend going for board control and board presence, because when you do that, you tend to score a lot and deny your opponent scoring, and you tend to destroy your opponent. So that's my opinion on go turns. I hope this was really, really valuable for you guys. I know this is on UKTC terrain on a very specific scenario, but you can break this out on any types of terrain, and you can do this against any army. It's just, there's always going to be opportunities. You have to find those opportunities. If you want help finding these opportunities, that's what coaching is for. You can join my coaching membership, although you probably got to sign up quick, because I'm about full on coaching memberships. I'm about to block off people being able to register for that, because it's really cool. It's going crazy, but it's getting a little too much. So I'm probably going to only allow a few more people to register for that, but I will always have individual coaching sessions available, just not at the discounted cost rate of the coaching memberships. So with that, I'm going to leave you. I hope you all have an amazing freaking day. Use this information in your games. Get better at Warhammer, and crump on. Bye-bye.